Okay, Steve. So if we can maybe start with just an overview of the DCA, a bit of background history, when, why formed, etc.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. So plans for a data center trade association actually started back in 2007 when I checked, when we were engaged with the DTI at the time, as it was called. At the time, we decided to actually create a forum just to address some of the issues and to try and highlight some of the concerns that were out there and misunderstanding that was out there. But we eventually formed the Trade Association in 2010 with the sole purpose, I guess, of professionalising the industry. In 2007, there wasn't a huge amount of even self-regulation. It was, and I wouldn't say it was the Wild West, because the industry was already 10 years old. But we felt, and some of the advisors on that forum felt that data centers should be, I guess, demonstrating their professionalism and doing what they were saying, demonstrating they were doing what they were saying on the tin. So it was more about consumer confidence and increasing awareness. So it was vitally important to the DCA to make sure that we were fully inclusive of the entire supply chain and not just co-location. So at the end of the day, thought leadership, was important to us, to instill that independence and neutrality, so that it wasn't overly product focused. And I'm pleased to say that today we have over 130 organisational members and partners. They consist of suppliers, both large and small, consultants, hosting providers, universities, researchers, media partners, and fellow national trade bodies, which are not just across Europe, but we also have trade bodies we have connections with trade bodies all over the world, actually, which is great to see. So we also have about 150 partners on the portal, and we reach around about 100,000 subscribers through the content we publish, which is largely provided by members and peer reviewed by the DCA globally. So, I'd like to think in the last 10 years that we've managed to make a difference, and I recognise the fact that none of that would be possible without the amazing support and contributions from our membership.
Okay, so thanks for the sort of history, the background on the DCA. Maybe it'd be good to give us a bit of idea of what the sort of core role is of the association in terms of engaging with, I guess, both members and outside bodies.
Yeah, thanks. As I mentioned, originally the forum before the DCA Trade Association was launched, in respect to, I guess, its manifesto, for want of a better word, was to try and professionalise the industry. I think it was also important, and we continue to do this, is to provide a voice for our members. It's vital to increase the awareness of the data centre industry in our digital world, even more so with the COVID crises. I mean, it's really highlighted it over the last 12 months of exactly how important the digital sector, the data center sector is to the digital world, to enable us to be able to keep in communication, whether that be, socially or through business. That's something which is really important to us, to increase that awareness. That's not just with consumers, but also with policymakers as well. So it's to encourage the adoption of best practices. That helps to drive decision making, and the adoption of energy efficiency strategies within data centers. We continue to professionalize and promote the professionalization of the sector through promoting training programs, and also through the DCA certification scheme. And that is a completely independent certification scheme designed to ensure that data centers can prove or ensure that they can prove that they're doing what they say on the tin. I think that's very good, very important for consumer confidence. So, and that's been quite successful, and we've just recently reviewed that entire scheme to make sure it's fully aligned with the EN 5600, which is the European standard for data center design and operation. So we need to continue to promote the sector as a potential career of choice for the next generation of data center professionals, as we're all hopefully going to be retiring soon, and it's a fairly mature, I suppose, set of professionals that we currently have in age, and I'm hopefully going to be, hanging up my boots and playing a little bit more golf within the next 10 years, and we definitely need to make sure that we have the right skills coming through to support that, and to encourage fellow partners to collaborate. This is on projects, on research, in joint projects. That helps to drive business and innovation, and will enable us to be able to keep pace, I suppose, with the continual demands of an increasingly digital world.
Okay, so in terms of the actual members, what are the sort of activities they can get involved with, engage both within the organisation, and I guess, you've outlined some of the areas that, the industry then, the association then works with the industry. Can you give us some ideas about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so the sky's the limit, I guess, in respect to the ways that members can engage. And we are speaking to members continually who keep coming up with new ideas and new initiatives that we're more than keen to investigate and support and try and initiate. But fundamentally, we as members can submit editorial content and articles. They can do video interviews. They can attend Data Center Transformation, which is a DCA members conference every year, which we hold in Manchester. There's a speaker program that they can connect with. That enables us to be able to place our members with keynote speaking slots or on expert panels at many of the events that go on throughout the season, when we are allowed to do events. Of course, at the moment we can't, but we're currently in 2021, and hopefully by the end of 2021 everything will be back to normal. So they can become career ambassadors. So that's an organisation can appoint a career ambassador within their organisation to highlight the importance of the data centre industry, or at least make the younger generation even aware that we exist and the important role we play. That's by going to local schools, universities, colleges, and take an active role in some of the special interest groups we've got. So that's just a few examples. I will say that the more engagement you have as a member, the more value you will be able to extract. And Kelly, who used to be in our marketing team, once said, and it's always stuck with me, that joining a trade association is a little bit like joining a gym. You don't get a six-pack by just joining a gym. You actually have to turn up and work out a little bit, which was a complete surprise to me. But I can see how that kind of correlates to the sort of things that where you can extract value from a trade association. It does require a little bit of commitment, a little bit of and some and the more engagement you have, the more value you will receive back and ROI.
Okay, so just picking up on the special interest groups, it'd be good to know a little bit about those. I guess they focus on different aspects of the industry, and therefore the work they do is specific to that. But I guess broadly, they have a set of standard objectives, aims that they share. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely, Phil. These groups are set up by members, and they're run by the members, and the DCA facilitate that and provide the network and infrastructure around it. And every single group has to agree its own objectives and address maybe some of the key issues they've highlighted that need to be fixed. So you are right, they do share common objectives. Those are things like providing clarity where confusion or misunderstanding exists within the sector, to help promote best practices or to increase awareness of key issues, and they could be anything from energy efficiency to carbon reduction to best practices around anti-contamination, cleaning of a facility, for example, or for security. So those are, I guess, the key issue, the key objectives that all those groups tend to follow.
Okay, and I won't test your memory, and I'll maybe ask you for the list of all 10, but if you could maybe give me an example of one or two of the special interest groups and some of the work they're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's 10 special interest groups at the moment. So there's, for example, in light of Brexit, for example, the co-location group, which is chaired by Dan Scarborough, is there to, I guess, fly the flag for UK co-location, to try and promote the data, continue to promote the UK as a destination of choice, both for business and investment, for example. The Workforce Development Group, chaired by Steve Bose-Phipps from PTS, exists to try and increase awareness. We've touched on this earlier, awareness of our sector, to try and encourage internships, placements, to try and encourage members to put forward ambassadors to go to local schools and colleges and universities to increase awareness. The whole purpose of this is, historically, I think if you ask most people, the data center sector was an accidental career. And what we need to move towards is to ensure that it becomes a career of choice for the next generation of data center professionals. So that gives you a couple of, examples. Hopefully that helps. And finally, we've got groups like the anti-contamination group, the commissioning group, the security group, energy efficiency group, and sustainability group, who are all at various different stages of working towards best practice guides or updating the latest editions of the best practice guides they produce. And all of this tends to feed into the DCA's data center certification scheme, to try and, as I mentioned before, to try and help data centers demonstrate they are doing what they say on the tin, to improve consumer confidence, and to influence decision making and purchasing decisions.
Okay, and these special interest groups, I mean, we've had a good relationship with the DCA over a number of years in terms of you guys supplying us with a lot of valuable content, but we're starting a new initiative with those special interest groups. Can you give us a bit of an outline of what's going to be going on?
Yeah, I'm pleased to announce, actually, the collaboration with Angel Business and Data Center Solutions and Digitalization World Magazine continues, and I'm really, really pleased with the relationship. This year, I'm pleased to say that we decided to change, I guess, the focus of each monthly edition so that it concentrates on a different special interest group theme with every edition that passes. And for the first time, that now includes not just editorial content, but also multimedia video content as well, in respect to interviews with the key members of the group and with the chairs, addressing, I guess, the objectives of the group, the achievements of the group, or the aspirations of the group. So, and a full list of these are all available on the DCA website.
Okay, so we've talked a fair amount about the special interest groups specifically, but I guess a lot of what they do feeds into other activities the DCA does. And so can you just give us, I guess, a bigger picture of other activities that the DCA gets involved in, like standards, I guess, industry issues, that type of stuff?
Okay, yeah. I mean, obviously, in addition to educating, informing, influencing, and decision making, these special interest groups are also used in support of things like research, innovation, and more importantly, shaping policy. So whether that be, locally within the UK, or on a European basis, or even on a global level, it helps us to the content which is produced, valuable content which is produced by the special interest groups, and the commitment that obviously the members of those groups invest, help to shape, key issues here, things which are really important, especially at the moment, things like sustainability or carbon reduction or and standards. And I touched on the fact that obviously a lot of this content feeds into the DCA certification scheme, which is a separate group in its own right as a working group. We try and work with the technical council to make sure that we've got, we're up to date and that the scheme is up to date, not just with EN 5600, but, public thinking, I suppose, or expert thinking within the industry to make sure that that scheme can deliver an independent view to instill consumer confidence, I guess, that, data center hosting providers continue to do what they say on the tin. So yes, it does actually have a additional value to a wider community outside the membership.
Okay, so we covered a fair amount of ground, but as we sort of draw to a close, perhaps you can summarise the DCA's role within how you see its role within the data centre industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to think that over the last 10 years that the DCA has managed to contribute a huge amount to the data center sector as we've evolved and grown. But we continue to be committed to the objectives we had when we first started out, and that's to support and promote the data center sector, to professionalize it, to educate on the right and the wrong things to do within DCs, to provide a voice for the industry and a vendor neutral independent voice for the industry and members, so that they can reach or it's easier for them to reach their own target audiences. It's things like to increase, we continue to try and work towards increasing the awareness of the vital role that the data center sector plays within our larger digital world, and to encourage operational best practice, the adoption of best practices within data center facilities. That drives energy efficiency and energy savings, ensures that data centers can operate in a more effective manner. That in turn obviously supports our commitments and continue support commitments, not just as a DCA, but as a collective group of national trade bodies on key issues such as the Carbon Neutral Pact, or some of the delegations which are going to COP26 in November in Glasgow, net zero. We continue to provide as a spokesperson for both press and the government on key issues that come up where they need advice and guidance or feedback and or comment. And we continue to try to professionalise the sector and promote the sector, training companies. I think it's important for us to continue to work with the data center certification scheme to try and encourage data centers to become certified by the independent source outside of their own organisation. I think that adds additional credibility and consumer confidence. We continue to promote careers in the data center sector as a career of choice. I think that's vital for the future and sustainability of our sector. And encourage continued collaboration between fellow members. That helps to drive new projects, new initiatives, new innovations and research. So again, that's pretty critical and something that we continue to do.
Okay, and then sort of finally, just be good to sort of conclude with the sort of, I guess, the benefits of membership. Just why people would want to join and all the kind of activities they get up to.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Before I do that, I just wanted to, I guess, highlight the amazing support that the DCA gets from the membership, and all the work that we do all the work that we hope to do in the future, everything we've achieved is only through the continued support and dedication and commitment of the members that we have within our community. So a big thank you to everybody who supports the Data Centre Trade Association. So in exchange for all that hard work, we provide an effective thought leadership platform that guarantees members' voices will be heard in equal measure. So this is irrespective of the size of the organisation you are. That it covers the entire spectrum of the data centre sector in respect to the members that we welcome. That's not just hosting companies, but also everyone within the supply chain. And we're very proud of that. That we continue to be completely independent, but to enable organisations and individual people within those organisations to maximise the exposure of either an organisation or themselves. The ROI options here are endless. They include speaking opportunities, networking, collaboration, special interest groups, articles, news, social media. There's plenty to get your teeth into as a member if you wanted to extract value and ROI from the DCA on at a thought leadership level. And then if you want more, then you wanted to do maybe some more dedicated, focused product or branding awareness initiatives or campaigns or lead generation, then we can provide those services, and those services are available through the DCA as well under the new Platinum Partner Programme. So if you want to find out a little bit more about that, then please let us know, as that obviously adds additional ROI, to and benefit to you being part of what I would like to think is a great community of data center experts.
Brilliant. Well, I really enjoyed chatting to you, Steve. So thanks very much indeed for your time.
Thank you very much, Phil.